We are continuing our card-by-card analysis of 1960, The Making of a President. We hope you'll join us here on Legendary Tactics. And we are moving on with our second to last, our penultimate.
Oh boy, here we go.
Card by card for 1960. All right.
All right.
Next one up, World Series ends.
Oh boy. And the
so-
player with media cube support, with media support cubes in the East, if any, may add a total of 5 state support in the East, no more than 2 per.
Yes. And this is great if you have the media cubes.
Yes, exactly.
If your opponent has the media cubes, then you gotta block this one because
potentially. Yeah, you don't really want
support.
You don't want them putting 5 down. Yeah.
Because that's really the worst case scenario. Is you play this card and they trigger it and they get 5 support at the cost of 1 momentum marker.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's pretty steep, and you can't undo it with 3 campaign points.
No, yeah. So I mean, it is going to be if you spent all of it doing that, it would still be a net loss of 2. But I don't know, 2 for 1 momentum marker, and you lose the card. But it is a neutral card, so I don't know. The odds are good. You still have your opponent's events.
Yeah, this is a good one to save for your for the debates, for example, for the campaign strategy.
Mind you, it also is friendly Utah, so you may want to drop it in the end game if you can.
Well, it's hilarious because I think that this event is actually pretty good, but for some reason, maybe because they ran out or something like that, it's correlated with Utah. Which
Utah?
How many?
What's the number on Utah?
Yeah, I'm just trying
4.
to find it. You can tell
4.
we're Canadian, but you're like, where's Utah?
Yeah, that's right.
It's 4.
So it's 4 electoral votes there. So
so that's
not
cool.
very great.
But I mean, the only thing is, would you play the media cubes in advance of this?
You know what? I do like
depends,
controlling the media.
Course, but
I do like
media
controlling media.
Yeah. I know I can usually egg you on a little bit if I take over the media in a region. You get really antsy. So
it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't sit well. So
well, there are some cards like this that really benefit from the media. So I think that that's generally wise to control the media anyway.
That's
but
true.
I like it. But this one, I think it's it's part of your plan anyway.
I think it would be card dependent on what your hand looks like before I'd start chasing the media for this card.
If your opponent has 3 or 4 media cubes in the East, then I'm burying this one. So,
yeah.
So that one's pretty straightforward. All right, late returns from Cook County.
Okay.
And this is an election day event.
On election day, the Kennedy player gains 5 state support checks in Illinois.
Yeah. Now, for me, I mean, it's 2 campaign points, though. This one, to be honest, I cannot really, unless Illinois is really in the balance, I don't know if I would ever play this for the event, unless I really had nothing else better to do with my 2 CP, because it I don't know. These kind of events are always so kind of swingy and random to me. I don't know what to make of them, Well,
you know what? It's an interesting card because you could basically, devote 2 CP and potentially, you forego the 2 CP and take the event and then have 5 shots at flipping Illinois, right? Depending on, of course, how heavily Nixon decides to go into it. And you can basically ignore Illinois for the game.
Yeah, that's true. Although Nixon will know because this card's placed, face up.
Yeah. So, but is Nixon willing to do? But then is Nixon gonna, devote 6 CP to try and to ensure Illinois, or what's Nixon gonna do? So,
I don't know if you have to, because you can probably count on, let's say, 3 out of that. If you draw 5 of your own cubes, that's amazing. But probably you'll get 3, let's say.
Yeah.
That's, on average.
So that means Nixon has to put 4 in there.
but that's fine because you need to carry it. That carries the state for you, right?
Yeah.
And Illinois is worth investing in at 27 electoral votes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's well worth investing in. I don't know. I think like it depends obviously on how much time Nixon is given before this comes out, because if Nixon sees it happening and it's like turn 4 or 3, there's plenty of time to reinforce Illinois, and it's worth doing anyway. So I don't know.
I think okay, it just sort of shifts the pressure onto Nixon for the game, right? To how much, and it doesn't necessarily stop Kennedy from like whittling down Nixon's numbers in Illinois.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, and it kind of does.
It just potentially like locks down Illinois for Kennedy if he can keep Illinois close.
Yeah, you've kind of sold me on this. I
don't know. It's more of a
I traditionally find the election day events to be really, I don't know. It's just hard sometimes to give up on the campaign points because there's so many other things worth doing.
But for 2, that's the thing for me. It's only 2. If it was 3, I would probably spend my points in the game. But for 2, the odds are good. I'm probably going to draw at least 2 of my cubes out of the 5. So I will at least get those 2 points back, if not more.
That's true. That's true, actually. Yeah. It's just if it's set in the Midwest, then that would be a completely different thing. But it's just so state specific. But yeah, I could see the value in it. And if
that's a good point. That's a good point.
For the campaign strategy, South Carolina's not it's 8 electoral. It's okay, but probably you'd be better off just taking the event or even using the campaign points. So that's an interesting one. That was a good
good debate on that one. Yeah, Joe Kennedy. The Nixon player may not expend momentum markers for the remainder of this turn. Okay, this is a very valuable card for Kennedy.
Well, so you have to play it early on.
Oh, of course.
In the turn.
You got to play it first, pretty much.
It does come at a cost of 3 CP, but hey, yeah, I could see that. And assuming Nixon has momentum markers to spend, then blocking them, absolutely. That's
and it depends on your hand too. I mean, if you're a hand full of Kennedy events and a Nixon event that doesn't matter, then maybe it's not worth spending the points on.
Yeah. But that said, no, I like that that idea because it means you can play your dangerous events safely without Nixon triggering them.
But it also means that Nixon can't block any of your events from his hand.
You got it, yeah.
So
I think that's pretty disruptive, actually. That's a good one.
Yeah, I think it's almost, now that I considered that part of it too, it's a two-edged sword.
But very easily mitigated by Nixon. Just play it on your last.
Oh yeah,
on your last game turn.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really super easy.
It's got to be in Kennedy's hand.
Yeah. And it ties in with Georgia, 12 electoral votes. So it's not, if you don't feel if you have better cards to play.
That hand.
Georgia's a decent.
You can drop it on Georgia,
to play for Georgia. So
the end of game.
Yeah, that one's an interesting one, and if it's timed right, can be pretty devastating. Now, compact of Fifth Avenue. This is one of those really involved events. I always picture this. I guess this is one of the Rockefellers, and he always looks like a bit like Mitt Romney to me.
Oh,
I don't know if it's just me. But
it's funny.
It's almost if you squint your eyes and blur your vision a bit, it kind of looks like Mitt Romney to me. But anyway,
so for this one, you immediately move the Nixon candidate token to New York without paying the normal travel cost. Nixon gains 1 issue support in civil rights, 2 state support in New York, and 1 media support cube in the East. Yeah. So this would actually pair very beautifully with that first card we looked at.
Yes, yeah.
You drop this one?
I think, a pretty much must-take event.
Oh, you get so much out of it. Nixon. It's like a grab bag of treats.
Yeah, and not only because you get all the cubes, but those are 3 separate actions.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's like a positioning action, a campaign action, and a media action all in one card.
So as Nixon, are you triggering this event?
Oh, pretty much every time, unless there's some bizarre reason I don't want to go to New York.
Okay.
But if I'm fighting for California or I'm I need to be across the country, then it can be sometimes a bit of a pain to
Well, you have to spend
go
one
all the
CP
way
to go
back
back,
to the
right?
east.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Still probably
I
worth
mean,
it.
it's still worth it to me. I really like this event as Nixon, and it's not easily mitigated by Kennedy either.
So it's a
Michigan,
Michigan.
though, is a
That's a
good.
pretty good state to actually bury it on, though.
Yes, and 20 electoral votes is, yeah,
There's nothing to
that's pretty
sneeze
good.
at.
So if you're in the last part of the game, yeah, that's definitely one that I would bury as Kennedy in the campaign strategy.
Right. Yeah.
So let's see. Nixon's knee. This is a weird one.
Oh boy, that gimpy knee here. So
Yes.
immediately move the Nixon candidate marker to Maryland without paying the normal travel costs. For the remainder of the turn, the Nixon player must expend one momentum marker in order to play a card as a campaigning action.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So again, if Kennedy plays this early, it can hamper Nixon's play, but at the cost of 4 campaign points,
that is
I'm not sure.
that's a heavy cost.
Now, if this is after the debates, then it becomes a lot more consequential. But before the debates, I mean, if I'm Nixon, I'm like, okay, well, I'll just focus on positioning, and I'll get some media cubes up and running, and and yeah, if I need to, I'll spend a campaign or momentum marker to campaign, in the area or whatever. I don't know.
I think
It
in the
depends
last
on.
round of the game, unless you have good card events, this could really be punishing, though.
It could. Timing wise, yes, it could be excellent.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
but,
it's very
but if
easily
it's earlier in the game, I think there's enough other things to do between the events and positioning on the issues and getting media cubes up and running, getting your infrastructure. If this was played on me in turn 2, I just build my infrastructure and play the events that I like.
Yep.
But
just sort of change course, right? Yep.
Yeah, but as you said, if you play this on turn 8,
where you're needing to
wow.
like drop cubes on places, then you're
totally worth it.
well, you're further hamstringing Nixon because one less momentum marker is like one less
hamstringing. I see what you did there. Good job.
wah, wah. Yes.
Yeah.
But now the event is easily mitigated by Nixon. You just play this
Yes.
as the last card, no problem.
Yeah.
And Texas is fairly substantial.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's a lot of campaign points to give up, but
as Kennedy, I'm not playing this into the pile though. I'm using this for
no. Yeah, you want to hamper
either for the campaign points or I'm using it for the event. So
yeah, it's one of those cards that if we could carry over to the following turn in this game, I totally would.
Oh yeah.
As Kennedy, it's so good. Industrial Midwest, and this is one of those. I like this event. The Nixon player may add a total of 5 state support in Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Minnesota, Ohio, and Wisconsin, no more than 2 per state.
Yeah, so a lot of flexibility.
Yes, I love the flexibility. They're all in very good states. There's a lot of electoral votes in those states.
Yeah, exactly. You got a lot up for grabs.
6 states named. Yeah, so you could literally just drop 1 cube per state and grab them all
potentially
if they're in the balance. So
yeah,
I really like this. For me, as Nixon, this is a pretty much must-have event.
Yeah.
And as Kennedy, that I don't know. There's no way of mitigating it, so you just have to.
You're either
time its play.
Either you're going to bury it, or because you can't undo all of it.
Yeah, and then in the debates, it's obviously not going to help you. So, yeah, it might be one that, worst case scenario, if I had no choice, I would just have to swallow it and just say, "Yep, okay, take your event." Sometimes you have to do that.
Yep, you do.
If it's after the debate, then Indiana's a good spot for support checks. It's where are we at here? 13 electoral votes, so I think that's worth. The campaign. Putting in the campaign strategy if you need to, if the Midwest is hotly contested.
So one of the things I like to do in a game is sort of lead out with hopefully tantalizing events that are Nixon. If I know I can't mitigate everything, I try to entice the Nixon player to like spend their momentum marker if they
Yes.
uh, I would leave this card toward the very end of the turn and hopefully
Yeah.
somehow
And
whittle
hopefully.
down the momentum markers because I don't really want it to happen. So
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. It's a good event overall.
yeah.
All right. Voter registration drive. 2 campaign points.
Yeah, so the player may add a total of 3 state support in states which currently contain no support for either player, no more than 1 per. Yeah, you know what? For 2, you're getting 3. It's not bad, and you're kind of like maybe potentially hammering down 3 states. It's not the
Yeah,
worst.
it can be quite decent. My only problem with it is later on in the game, there's not that many states which don't have support cubes in them.
Yeah,
So
it'll be the lower tier states for sure that with
yeah,
like
you're
very
not going to get a lot
low
of bang for the
electoral
buck.
votes. Yeah.
Now you're only giving up 2 CP, and if they're and it's very open. Any 3 state support in any states, right? So
Yeah. Yeah, you're across the board.
you can
Yeah.
put them across the board. Uh, but it's one where you got to read the board state. If it
I think it's a
if
bit
it arrives,
situational. Yeah, it's situational.
it is very situational. If it arrives early in the game, it's fine, but a lot of what you'll do is going to be fairly easily outdone.
Yeah.
You may want to target
Well,
some
possibly
states
though,
that are,
but really, if you're going into states like, I don't know, you're playing one into Maryland, for example, 9 electoral votes,
yeah,
or West Virginia. I
yeah,
mean, 8 votes, and yeah, I mean, maybe your opponent's going to go and undo it, but it's only
yeah,
worth 8. Like, there's going to be higher priorities, so.
yeah. It might be an opportunity to snag, say, Washington State,
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Like,
or
you just go into 3 states that are really, or even, yeah, Washington 8. Even Oregon at 6. Not terrible, and you pretty much nailed.
yeah,
Like, you're daring the other player to spend a CP on it or whatever. So
yeah,
fine,
exactly.
go
Yeah,
ahead.
and then they're probably not going to have time. So
Yeah.
yeah, in that sense, you can lock down. The other time this event could be useful is, say, for example, if you want to snag Hawaii in order to play an event. Some of the states that
Yes,
require
yes, yes.
control.
Hawaii and
Um,
what was the
yeah, there's the one
Alaska.
event. Yeah, so if there's an event, and I can't remember the name of it offhand, but the event that you
Yes,
need
you have to
control
own
of
that. Yes.
Hawaii or whatever, then that's a great way to do it. It's very, if you don't have to spend travel to get there,
Nope. You just
and
quietly
if
go in
you,
there, you wank it up, and
yep,
then
yep,
have that event
and
in your pocket later down the road.
yeah. So I think it is a good event. Obviously better later on in the game, but it's a good event, and it can it can allow you to just grab those, those off the beaten path states
It's
that
actually
are
not
worth.
terrible early game either. Actually, early game gives you more flexibility because there's more open.
That's true,
So
actually.
you can
Yeah.
actually play into the big states that have like maybe a Pennsylvania or Michigan or
Yeah.
something like that, right? So
Yeah, that's a good point. Although those ones are obviously going to be invested in heavily. I think I'd almost prefer picking some states that are a little off the beaten track and locking them down, because your opponent's not going to have the time.
yeah,
Like Washington State, for example, 9 electoral votes, and that's a ways away for someone to make a special trip.
oh exactly, yeah.
To undo
I just like the
that.
idea.
So
You're parlaying basically. You're giving up 2 for 3,
yes,
so you're actually
yes.
you're bumping up 1 CP, and all you have to do is just make sure it's in a spot that has no one else. So
And arguably more, because there's no travel costs.
that's
As
true
well.
too. Yeah, you can go across the
So
board.
it's
Yeah,
it's
so I don't know.
even
I
better.
think it's a pretty good event
Yeah,
for a 2
and
CP.
Washington State, if you don't have if you have a better cards, Washington State is that's a very acceptable.
Yeah,
I
and you're
could live with
going to
that.
have 3 states across the board that don't have anything. So
Yeah. Now we covered the gathering momentum cards in an earlier video
episode, yes,
here.
we did.
So we'll move on to Nelson Rockefeller.
Oh boy, Rockefeller again, eh? So
Yes, this is a very good event.
the Nixon player gains 1 state support in New York and may retrieve any card from the discard pile.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And again, obviously better when there's more of a discard pile. So
Yeah, you don't
not
want
as
you don't
good
want
in
this
turn
early game.
one
Yep.
as it is in turn 8. But if you can pull back one of those, one of those great cards, that we've chatted about, or just any great Nixon event that you can utilize. The only downside is the Kennedy player. This card can be boring because when the Nixon player plays it, they're sifting through the discard pile for the next 5 to 10 minutes as they pick out their event.
That's right.
Yeah. But but this is not easily really mitigated.
I was just thinking about how you could mitigate it. Yeah.
Well, Kennedy could play it late, right? Because depending on if Kennedy, it depends on who has the initiative. But if Kennedy is going last, then this could be discarded with,
impunity.
Give up one state support in New York.
That's not terrible.
At the cost of a momentum marker, so that's not terrible.
I guess the worst thing you're doing is giving an event that Nixon can drop into the debates or into the final scoring.
Yeah, that's a good point actually. So if there's a card with like Texas they can get support,
or California checks. Or New York or something, they could drop that in.
Yeah,
so
that's true. Yeah, it's not a great event if Kennedy has to let it be triggered. I could see Nixon, especially if the momentum marker is going to be.
But would you trigger it as Nixon, knowing you can't play the event? You'd have to be basically putting into that. Like, is it worth it to you?
I would. Well, as you pointed out, if you retrieve a card from the discard pile, and you can either pick up a better card for your debate strategy or pick up a better card for the campaign.
Is that worth one momentum marker?
Sorry, for the end for the support checks on election day.
Yeah. Is that worth the momentum? Yeah.
Well, if Nixon's playing for the event, there's no momentum marker cost, right? So
no. I mean, if you're playing it on, if Kennedy was trying to dump it.
Oh, if Kennedy plays it, I don't know. It depends on where it's played in the turn, and
so situational.
It is situational. Okay. I mean, Kennedy's always going to play this one late in the turn, so there's going to be limited use. But if Nixon has if the initiative is such that Nixon goes last on that turn, then he can pick any card, and that can be his card for the, for the last play of that turn. So
right,
this one's a tricky one for Kennedy to navigate.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. It's not ideal.
Yeah. All right, and lunch counter sit-ins.
Oh boy, here we go. So civil rights moves up one space on the issue track. The leader in civil rights may add a total of 3 state support anywhere, no more than 1 per state.
Yeah, this is great if you're ahead in civil rights.
Yeah, exactly.
And it may honestly be worth investing in civil rights before playing this event.
Mm-hmm. Well,
because if you get control of civil rights and it moves up a space on the issue track, then it's moving. You're going to get the better opportunity for an endorsement, and you get the 3 support anywhere. So you get your 3 CPs back.
And actually, you get them in more. You get them a broader. You can swath. Broad swath. You can put it anywhere in the board. You don't have to be in that area.
Exactly. And if civil rights moves up to the middle or even the top, you're getting the opportunity for an endorsement. So
it might actually be worth the investment in civil rights to actually have this triggered. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, now the only thing is if you're way behind on civil rights, then that can be an issue.
Yeah, do you really want to invest a couple turns of doing it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, or you have to play it and your opponent can trigger it and get this benefit, right? So
yeah. Well, that's the other side of the coin, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it could be really awkward to work around. So
I could see this potentially being like an arms race on civil rights. If you're not, if you start, if your opponent's leading, then you start trying to whittle down, and then your opponent catches on, and so it could just turn into a bit of a bloodbath in the on the rights issue. So
anyway. And the last one for today, Gallup Poll.
Okay, the player may alter the order of the issues on the track if as desired.
Yeah.
Oh, but 3 CP, that is.
Yeah.
I suppose if you power played this at the end of your turn.
Yep. Well, you'd have to, because otherwise you're just giving.
Yeah, you'd have to be
your opponent.
Yeah, you'd have to be in the right position. You'd have to be going last on the turn.
Yeah.
Like you would,
Well,
I wouldn't want to
you,
give my.
or late in the turn anyway.
Would you even want to give your opponent a chance to like respond with this event in play though?
Yeah, that
I guess
is a
it depends.
problem.
It depends on the issues, like how far ahead you are.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you want to send the opponent's issues down to the third place issue, and you want to push yours up. But I mean, again, if you're leading in all three, this event means nothing.
Moot,
if you're losing in all three, this event means nothing. So it really does depend. But I like the fact if you're in the third place, if you in this case, like if you're leading in economy and defense is at the top.
Is it worth 3 CP though? That's kind of a that's a heavy price to spend.
It is. I would probably take the campaign points.
Yeah, I don't think I'm taking this event.
One, but yeah, it's a pretty steep price to pay. Now, I mean, it's always nice to mess up your opponent's plan because you move them all the way down to where they just get a momentum marker, and then you go from just a momentum marker to a free endorsement. But that's essentially what you're likely trading.
Boiling down to. Yeah. I don't think it's worth 3.
And again, endorsements are random, so you may end up with an endorsement in the wrong region. So
yeah.
I would probably take the campaign points on this one, and really,
I don't really even see a situation where I would use this event. Now it's Montana.
But even if my opponent took it, then like if they took the event, I probably wouldn't even stress out about it that much.
No. And it's Montana for electoral vote, so it's not a very big vote getter.
Yeah, I think this one's campaign points all the way.
Okay.
I can't. I mean, maybe if there's a weird situation, you may want to take the event if it really benefits you. But yeah, otherwise I can't see it.
Yeah.
So yeah. So that is the next group of approximately 10. I think there's actually 9 in this one. We've got 8 more to go, and we're going to wrap this up next time. So
yes,
thank you so much for watching. We hope you're getting some value out of these card by card videos.
Yeah, and if you have your own ideas, please comment and let us know below. And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Thank you so much for watching. This is Legendary Tactics.